Hey everyone, I'm Lyle Burks with the Viking Speaks. And this is the 48 Laws of Power. Hey everyone, it's Lyle Burks with the Viking Speaks. Welcome back to day 57 of the 90-day challenge. We have the 48 Laws of Power, Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control. Turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. Behavior that seems to have no consistency or purpose will keep them off balance, and they will wear themselves out trying to explain the moves. Taken to an extreme, this strategy can intimidate and terrorize. All right, so in this chapter, he goes into a story I've heard many times, actually one of my favorite stories of the unpredictable ruse, per se. So, in 1972, during the height of the Soviet Union, there were two chess players, Boris Spassky and Bobby Fischer, the Americans versus the Russians. Spassky was known for his ability to pick his opponents apart. He would study them and he would play their own game against them, use their strengths as their weaknesses. And then Fischer was someone who was known as a tenacious fighter who would never stop. He never gave up in a match. And even though he might take hits, he would fight to the bitter end and wear the opponent down. Now, in professional chess, competitive chess like this, it wasn't just a onesie-twosie match. These things would go on sometimes back and forth for 10, 15, 20, 30 games. So the ability to wear your opponent down, you might lose 10 matches, but win the other 20. It was a critical skill. Spassky was a very confident player, and given his reputation, he was a bit of a psychologist too. Never broke down, never showed emotion, was just constantly able to turn the tide in his favor. And he needed those habits. He learned by watching his opponent. So Fischer figured this out. And he realized that was the key to beating Spassky. So what he did, when they set up this international match, that would be the World Championship, was to take place, I want to say, in Russia. And Fischer didn't show up. Now, he was also known for being very prompt. He never missed a match, never backed out, fighter to the end, kid from Brooklyn. He didn't show up when he was supposed to. Then his party of personnel had sent message and everything, and he was complaining about the money and then the venue and then the cameras being around, the way the hotel was decorated, how the tables were set up, anything he could possibly complain about, he did. Well, it got to the point where eventually Spassky started to spout off at the mouth and say, well, this kid's scared, he's not going to face me. Finally, after threats to lose the match, if he didn't show up by 5:10 p.m. that day, he would have to forfeit the match. And if you forfeit the first match, you pretty well just forfeited the entirety of the series. He showed up at 5:09. Finally began to play. They did their thing. And in the first game, Fischer made a few very costly errors. Wasn't playing with his normal style, and Spassky was a bit baffled, but took advantage of it. It felt as if he was just crushing this guy, right? Well, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Fischer makes a bold move that completely stuns everyone. And it wasn't in his normal pattern either, normal style. This kind of threw Spassky off. He wasn't sure what to make of this. Now, ultimately, Fischer lost that match. The next day, Fischer didn't show up again. And the KGB got pretty upset at this point, and he ended up having to forfeit that match. So now he's 2 matches down. Never in the history of professional chess had anyone ever come back from a 0-2 start. Fischer showed up for the third match, on time. But this time he didn't look scared or defeated or worried or concerned. He wasn't fussing about the arrangements or anything. In fact, it was reported that he showed up with a fierce look of determination in his eyes. And not only did he play, that he won. And he didn't just win, he completely annihilated Spassky. Now this went on, and he did the second day after that, the fourth match. He won again in a similarly crushing fashion. So much so that when he left the match, he actually went outside and said, "I'm winning by brute force." This went on all the way up to the 14th match. Spassky got so freaked out by what was going on, he actually began to claim hallucination, made accusations that there had been put drugs or something in the orange juice that morning, that there might be devices in there that were aiding in mind control. And it got bad enough that the Soviet Union felt as if they were being mocked and they were looking bad in front of the world. So they took the chairs apart, they took everything apart, x-rayed them the whole 9 yards, put the entire series on hold. When they found nothing but 2 dead flies and a light fixture out of the entire room and realized everything was legit, the matches at that point resumed. A final match, I believe is who I was, the final match, and that was it. Fischer had won. Now, though Spassky was young, though, he would never recover from that. He messed with his mind so much that his unpredictability is an uncanny behavior, going back and forth and doing something completely different than he had done his entire career, threw this guy off so much that he lost absolute faith and capability in trusting his own awareness and everything he had done prior to beat everyone he played. Now, there is a reversal to this law. While unpredictability can be a powerful weapon, predictability can also be an incredibly powerful tool if you use it right. Muhammad Ali, when he went off to face against George Foreman, everybody figured it would be the simple, Ali's going to dance around. It's a style. He's got a very smooth style fighting, and George Foreman's just going to wait for his moment, tag him a couple times, and knock him out. And everybody was expecting George Foreman would win the match because of that. Ali knew this. So what he decided to do is he changed his tactic. Now, in 10 years of fighting, he had never changed his style. His style was the reason he won. He was tenacious, trained like a champion, but his style was ultimately the technical aspect of his fighting that gave him the edge. He was a gifted fighter. But he knew that in those circumstances, even his style of fighting, even his tenacity and his skill just wouldn't be enough. He had to beat Foreman at his own game. So he declared that he would go toe-to-toe and slug it out with Foreman. For weeks before the match, this was declared. Nobody believed him. Even Foreman didn't believe him. When his trainer got there and loosened the ropes on the ring, that was a common practice if the fighter fully intended to just go blow to blow with the other fighter. And still, the announcers didn't believe him, the other fighters didn't believe him, and nobody believed that Ali was going to go toe-to-toe with George Foreman. Foreman didn't believe him either. So when the bell sounded for the first round, and Foreman just prepared to have to dance around and wait him out, Ali comes straight up to him and just starts decking him. And this went on for a while. Eventually, it got in using his predictability as a weapon. That got in Foreman's head because he didn't know what to do. So he started throwing wild punches and everything and wore himself out by not fighting his normal style of being cool and powerful with every single hit. Ali wore Big George Foreman down to claim the title. So be exceptionally careful when you use this. Judicious was the word he used in the book when using these laws, because predictability and unpredictability can be both a weapon and also a curse. Unpredictability, when it comes to your higher ups, can be problematic. So you want to be predictable, especially in your job. You want to be dependable. So do not use this as an excuse to show up late, take days off, do whatever, just randomly. Save this for more pertinent uses. So that's all I got for tonight. Hope it was wonderful for you guys. I actually really like this one, so talk to you tomorrow. Much love. Backing out.